as a young violist playing in an orchestra to earn a living, one of the goals for me and for all my colleagues was to get to a still better, bigger orchestra. That was what was talked about all the time. We watched carefully what openings might occur in the Boston Symphony, the New York Philharmonic, and other orchestras like Chicago, Cleveland, which would all be upgrades for us financially and psychologically, and in most cases musically as well. If you're an orchestra player, you want to be in the best orchestra in the world. That was the Philly Orchestra. Also, I had a theory which proved to be totally false. To get into the Philadelphia Orchestra, you had to have more gumption, perhaps more talent, certainly more drive, to get ahead, to be the best and with the best, than in an orchestra like Minnesota. So there would be more opportunities to play quartets with those kinds of people than I was finding in Minneapolis, where I found a few. But I figured, my theory was there'd be tons. Everybody would be great, and they'd all be playing chamber music. It would be a dreamland for me. You had to pay your own way to go to get a chance at an audition in New York or Philly. And the word was always out that somebody else had the job anyway. They'd still let you come and pay your $600 airfare. And the job was already given to the best friend of the principal viola or the first oboe or first clarinet. But I had encountered a violinist by the name of Anshel Brusiloff in Aspen, who was at that time concertmaster of the Cleveland Orchestra, about to take a job as concertmaster with the Philly Orchestra. And he liked my playing in Aspen. We played quartets together. And he said to me pretty famously, "Iglitzin, where do you play during the winter?" I said, "In Minneapolis." He said, "Are you principal viola there?" I said, "No." He said, "Who's principal?" I said, "Gaetano Molieri." He said, "Molieri is principal? You should be principal." I said, "Well, I'm his assistant. You should be playing principal." "That's not right. When I get to Philly," which was going to be in a year hence, "I want you in Philly." So I said jokingly, "Okay, send me a contract." Well, he didn't have the power to do that. But he made that compliment to me that he wanted me in Philly. "We want to play quartets. We want to be together. You like my playing." So one day the Minneapolis Symphony was on tour. I came home at about 1:30 in the morning in a snowstorm from a 2-month tour. The house had been locked up in Minneapolis. I went to the front door and tried to get in. The neighbor was supposed to have taken care of things for me, but she locked herself and me out of the house by locking the inside door and getting out somehow. So I'm in the snow up to my ankles with my viola on the ground in a case and a suitcase, coming home after 2 months away. And a squad car, state patrol came, saw me, thought I was trying to break into the house. Came up, I identified myself. They broke in themselves and let me in. So I was finally out of the snowstorm in the house. Lynn was coming back the next day from the East Coast, and I was instructed to have milk in the refrigerator ready for the baby, the new baby. I go to the refrigerator, and it's not plugged in. I put my stuff away, I crawl down on the floor, get a hold of the plug, and climb behind the refrigerator with frozen fingers. And then I dropped the plug in a way, and I couldn't pull it out from under the refrigerator. And I was cussing up a storm, and the phone rang. 1:30 in the morning. Who the hell's calling me at 1:30? Oh, I pick up the phone. "Mr. Iglitzin." "Oh, this is Mr. Zell. This is George Zell. I just want you to know I had a wonderful time with your wife tonight." I said, "Who the hell is this? What kind of a gag is this?" My wife was in New York. So it was Anshel doing his best imitation of a conductor's accent. "No, it's Anshel, Alan. I need you." I said, "What do you need?" "Lenny France died. There's an opening in the viola section, and the auditions are this Sunday, I want you to come and try out. It scared my shoes off. So I hung up thinking, I don't have a chance. I have no repertoire because I hadn't done any solo playing of any kind. I'm going to fail the audition. I'm going to waste $600 and go to Philly for no avail. So I went upstairs to the second floor, which was a nice room, and I started practicing repertoire for the audition. In the middle of the night, freezing cold. So I go to the personnel manager, Jeff Meltzer. I said, Jeff, I'm not going to be here Saturday and Sunday. What? What do you mean? I said, I'm taking an audition somewhere. He says, don't tell me that. You see what you got me into now? Now I have to go to the general manager and tell him that you're not going to be there because you're taking an audition. The next thing I know, I get called into the green room. Antal Dorati wants to see me. What is this I hear about? You're not playing on Saturday and Sunday? What is this all about? What do you mean you're not playing the whole weekend? I said, well, I'm going to take an audition. You're going to take an audition? For where? I said, well, I'd rather not say because if I don't make it, I don't want people to know I tried out. So you think you're going to go to take this audition? I said, yes, I'm going to go. He says, and he looks at me straight in the eye. He says, and if I say you can't go, you're going to go anyway, aren't you? I said, yes. He said, good luck, my boy. So that tells, in a short anecdote, my relationship with Dorati. He knew me. I'm not going to knuckle under. I'm going to take the audition. So I did that, and I flew there and was told it was okay for me to be the first one to try because I was walking around all night long the night before. From 3 a.m., I was so hyped by the idea that I would have to play an audition to the great Philadelphia Orchestra. From 3 o'clock in the morning in the Ben Franklin Hotel, I wandered the streets and found the back door of the Academy of Music. Angela was very upset when I went out there first at 8:30 in the morning. He said, that's not good because by the end of the day, they'll have heard 42 violas and they'll have forgotten you were playing. It's very bad. That's what he thought. So I played, and then the next guy played, and nobody said to Angela, not as good as the first guy. Okay? Then another guy comes on. Not as good as the first guy. Again and again through 42 candidates. And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I get called in from backstage where we're all hanging out to say I have the job. Third stand, inside seat. And it's yours. Then I called my folks that night, and my father famously said to me, Philadelphia Orchestra? I said, yes. You mean Eugene Normandy wants you in his orchestra? Like, how could his son, schlepper like me, be wanted by the great front page of Time magazine character, medals from the Queen of England character, would possibly want little Alan Iglitzin in the orchestra? That's my dad. Come back the next day, I get called in by Dorati. Yes, what happened? What happened? I said, well, I got the job. He says, in what orchestra? I said, Philadelphia. He said, of course, I trained you. Of course you got the job. He gave me a big hug. And that was it.